everyone, here's Miss McKnight again. Okay, if you are having trouble with transformations, you've come to the right place because we are going to do a quick review and hopefully it'll refresh your memory and make everything make sense. So what are transformations? Well, in 3rd grade you learned slide, turn, flip. 4th grade, those terms are no longer acceptable. We use translation, rotation, and reflection. Translation is the same thing as a slide. I know y'all remember me sliding across the floor. A rotation is the same thing as a turn. And a reflection is the same thing as a flip. I always think about mirror. You see your reflection in the mirror, and it's yourself looking back at you. Okay? So you let that help you to remember what these 3 things are. Alright, let's take a look. We're going to just do a couple examples, and hopefully this will all make sense. Alright. Rotation. One thing you've got to remember, because a lot of times the pictures you see in your book or on worksheets that I give you, it's hard to tell sometimes between a rotation and a translation. Because technically, let's take this square here, okay? Sometimes you'll see something like this, and then you've got to tell me, okay, is that a rotation, a reflection, or a translation? Well, really, it looks like it could be both, a rotation and a translation. Because if I were to put this square above it here, or right on top of it, like it was just one thing, and I was to slide it, or translate it, okay, it could land there and be fine, okay? But it also can be a rotation. What I told you to remember with a rotation is if it's touching, if the 2 shapes are touching, or 2 letters or figures or whatever they are, if they're touching, then it is a rotation, okay? It's also a rotation. So technically, I would count that as both a rotation and a translation. Alright, with reflection, okay, you got to think about it being it just looking like a mirror image of each other. So if I was to take this arrow here, and I was to turn it around and make it look like this, sorry. There we go. Then those 2 arrows would be an example of reflection. And a lot of times what you see, you'll see this, but sometimes you'll see like a little dotted line going down between the 2 as well. Okay? But this would be considered a reflection. Or you can have your arrow, let's see if I can turn it like this. And take this arrow and turn it like this. And then scoot it over a little bit. Okay, these 2, this one and this one, would also be considered reflection. Alright, translation is just a slide, so it's just one thing, or moved over like this, or you could have an example like this, where they're just, you just slide the fingers, so they move. They don't turn, they don't flip, they're just sliding. And that's as simple as it is. Okay, I know some things can be tricky, and sometimes we have looked at figures that have done 2 things, like with the rotation, where this could be either a rotation or a translation. But sometimes we also see figures that, let's see, if I were to turn this, but then this figure was over here. Okay, that would technically be 2 things. It would have to translate and rotate. So you could look at figures that have actually done 2 things. And usually that is the case, whether they've rotated and translated. Okay? Hopefully this helps you and hopefully it makes sense. And I will talk to you later.